What if I told you that being successful was just changing your mind? What I'm going to do today is talk about some of the steps to success and how I've personally changed my perspective and how I've used these to now make multiple six-figure incomes in the corporate world for the last few years. So let's get right into it. My name's Devon. I'm your friend and mentor in business, marketing, and sales. What we're going to do today is talk about the 8 steps to success and how I've personally transformed my mindset using them. All right. So just jump right on into it. Started off. Number 1 is positive attitude. All right. This for business and sales is 10% ability and 90% attitude. All right. Now don't get that confused. I'm not talking about cheerleader, super happy demeanor. Okay, that's not what I'm talking about when I say positive attitude. That doesn't hurt. That's nice to have sometimes, to be super, have a great happy demeanor. But that's not what I mean. There's plenty of super successful people out there with not such a happy demeanor. All right. What I'm talking about is a winning attitude. Never surrender. Never give up. Never quit. Solutions only type mindset where everything is going to go wrong. We already know that. Everything's going to go right too. We know that too. But just keep going. Just keep hammering, keep grinding, keep getting after it. All right? That's what positive attitude really means. Is you got 2 choices, right? Every time something happens, you can sit there and blame and complain and cry and whine. Or you can just get after it, figure it out, find the solution, find the opportunity, right? Is it a problem or is it an opportunity, right? It's both. It's whatever you decide it is. So that's a positive attitude. For me, when I was not making great money, when I was not in a great way, back in the day when I was younger, I grew up in not a ideal situation, boo-hoo. I used to sit there and cry about my situation, about how the world was stacked against me, everything was all out for me, and I don't even like talking about it. I don't want to bring that energy in, but I would sit there and blame everybody else except for myself, right? It was everybody else's fault, everything else's fault, the government's fault, the economy's fault, everything. I was born in the blah, 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 my parents, this, that, I was in a small town, no opportunity, blah, blah, blah. Right? Endless blaming. One day I found a job, I found a career in sales, making minimum wage on a clawback system. And they told me, a clawback means you owe the money back if you don't make sales. They told me, if you're not making sales, it's your fault. If you're not making money, it's your fault. All right? I started internalizing these words and started understanding and really living and understanding every single thing in my life. Everything that I have at that moment was all 100% on me, right? I can blame myself, and then I can take my power back. That's what being positive is taking all your power back. When you blame other things, you can't control those other things. Those are externals. Those are outside of you. So having a positive attitude and blaming yourself means you empower yourself. You are now in control of your destiny. Other people, the economy isn't in control of my destiny. This thing that happened to me, boo-hoo, whatever, that's not going to determine today. That's not going to determine tomorrow. I'm determining that, all right? I can stop dragging the past into my present, and I can just let that go, and I can stay positive. All right, that's what a positive attitude really means. Number 2 is be on time. Shows personal responsibility, shows self-accountability. I remember my first job I ever applied to, they said, "What's your biggest weakness?" I said, "I got a problem with showing up right at 7 a.m., right?" They didn't hire me. I don't know why. I don't know why they didn't hire me at the grocery store when I told them I couldn't show up to work on time. Because I had problem getting out of bed in the morning for school or whatever. When I was growing up on the farm, I didn't want to get up at 5 a.m. to feed the chickens all the time. So whatever, I had a problem with getting up and being on time. So what that is you're showing other people you can't be counted on. That's kind of a harsh lesson for like a 16, 17-year-old to figure out. But you need to, the faster you can figure this out, the better, all right? Because being self-accountable, not needing someone else to hold your hand, that's the faster you're going to move up in the world of success in business and sales, marketing, all of it. So be on time, self-accountability, self-responsibility, okay? Nobody wants to sit there and be responsible for you. You're late for this reason, you're late for that reason. Maybe it's a very legitimate reason. No one cares. They got their own things going on. Your employer is building a business. They got their own problems. Their problems is running a successful market, running a successful store, running a successful whatever they're running, website, whatever it is. That's their problem. Your problems are not their problems. They are now because you're showing up late and you're giving excuses. But show responsibility, show accountability, and be accountable for yourself. Be responsible for yourself. Nobody wants to sit there and take care of you. All right. So this is the lesson that I had to personally go through, and being on time was so important. It was like one of the fundamental building blocks to me moving up in the business world. I'll just give you a quick story. My very, very first day in sales, I had to ride the bus. I didn't have a car. So I took the was it the 10 o'clock bus? I got the bus that showed up at 10 o'clock, and the bus station was literally, I hadn't been to the office before, but the bus station was like literally 1 block away from the office. So, and then the office was going to start right at 10. And then I was like, oh, this is perfect because the bus shows up at 10. I can just walk 1 block. And I showed up at like 10:03, and I got to the office at like 10:03, did the office, everything. This is my very first day. My boss pulls me aside at the end of the day and says, why are you late? I was like, well, I explained to her my bus, gets here at 10. She's like, just hold on. I don't care. That's your problem, not my problem. You want to work here? You get here. You're here early. You're here before 10 o'clock. If you're here at 10 o'clock when the office starts, you're late. You're here at 10:03. Don't bother showing up tomorrow. So then I started having to take the 9 o'clock bus so I could be there on time. All right. You got to do what it takes. All right. I didn't have a lot of options back then, so I just took the 9 o'clock bus, and then I waited outside for the office to open up about 9:45, and then I could get in. All right. Number 3 is be prepared. All right. For me, what I'm looking for when I'm teaching new people, because I tell them straight up, bring a notebook, bring a pen every single day. That's like the bare minimum to being prepared, showing up for work, showing up not just for work, but for your own success. All right. If you're learning from other people that are making tons of money and you're like, I want to make tons of money, I'm going to do that one day. You can't remember it all. You just can't. You need your notebook. All right. You got to be prepared. That's bare minimum preparation. But, get your sleep the night before or don't, I used to go out and party and not get great sleep. I'd still show up though with the notebook. So you could do that too. It's not great, but you're still going to be prepared and dress sharp and look the part, right? Maybe you had a long night, but you're still tucked in. You got your shoes are shined. You got your belt on. You're looking crisp, right? Doesn't matter if you got 2 hours of sleep. You're still prepared. You're still at the office, right? You're still ready to go. Eat breakfast if you're into that. Drink your coffee before work. Maybe you go to the office, then you go to the field, or maybe you go in the office. Are you going to spend the first 20 minutes in the bathroom, after whatever your little team meeting or something, and then you're going to go to Dunkies, and then you're going to go to Starbucks, and then you're going to do this and that, and then you're eventually going to make it into the field? Like, you're shot, right? Are you going to go hang out at the water cooler? Be prepared. Wake up early. Wake up 3 hours early and do all this. Get your coffee going before work. Start deep diving in your CRM before you even show up to work. Like, get serious about your own success. Be prepared. That's for you. All right. That's so you can be prepared. I had to learn these things too, right? Started rolling out of bed, getting my crusties out of my eyes. How I used to go to middle school and like almost late for the bus, making the bus driver wait for me. I had to break those habits because it wasn't acceptable. It wasn't acceptable. And there was no place for me to move up if I was going to keep doing those kind of things. All right. Number 4 is work a full shift, right? It goes back to you don't want to spend the first 30 minutes, going to the bathroom and getting your Dunkin' Donuts and all that kind of stuff. You just lost like a great sales time, right? You just lost a bunch of dialing time. You just lost a bunch of new lead generation time, whatever, closing deals time, whatever it may be, right? You just lost potentially hundreds of thousands of dollars for your income every single morning. You're like wasting. If you think about it in just however you get paid commission, weekly, monthly, quarterly, however you get commission, every morning you're screwing off and showing up and doing those things. You're not working. You're losing hundreds of thousands of dollars, but you don't see it right in the moment. But it's really what it adds up to at the end. At the end of the month, you're like, oh no! What if I would have just worked harder? If I would have just worked a little bit harder and tried. I've seen it. I literally seen it probably almost every month I've been in sales from other people. And, in the beginning, I had some gaps that needed to be filled too in my work shift, right? So work a full shift, whatever that shift may be. Maybe you're only working, a couple hours, maybe on your side project, whatever, but you need to plug in. Right? Maybe you're building a business and you're working full time. You're working your 8 hours, your full-time job, and then you're working 3-4 hours on your side business. You need to plug in for those 3 or 4 hours too on top of the 8 hours at work, right? So you need to work a full shift. That doesn't mean half work this shift. It means giving 100% the entire time. Work until you hit your goals and then exceed them. Work until you hit your goals and then exceed them. This is sales and marketing. I get it. If you're at a fast food place or something, there's no tips or commission. It's a race to the bottom. I know I had regular jobs for a long time. It's every single employee sees how little they can do and still not get fired to collect that bare minimum paycheck. Because why work hard? I get it. If you're not getting commission, you're not getting tips at least. There's no incentive to work hard except for maybe I'm going to be promoted or something, right? So it's not that this stuff won't work, but it's a lot harder to be motivated at a place where your only option is one guy's going to get promoted out of the 10 people on the floor, and you already know, you might not be that guy. So you can set yourself apart by doing this, even in a regular job like that. If you're the person that just works the entire shift, you will be the person that's going to be moving up very fast on that ladder, right? So this doesn't apply to just sales and marketing, but I do get it. It is hard to care, and I know myself, because everybody else is trying to do the least possible thing, which honestly, it's so easy. If you do just a little bit more and everybody else is doing the bare minimum, and you just show the smallest amount of effort, now you're the golden god of the freaking floor, right? Because you try for your full shift, right? So work a full shift. It'll set you apart, right? It'll move you forward. It'll move you forward in great ways. Number 5 is cover your territory, right? However you do that, maybe you're not going to knock all the doors. Maybe you got to cover the whole neighborhood. Maybe you got to dial to all 500 people on the list today. Maybe you got to dial 600 people on the list today. However, you got to talk to every single person that walks past your tent. Or I don't know how you cover your territory. You got to hit everybody on your email list, right? Whatever you do, you got to cover your territory, meaning you got to talk to everyone that you possibly can talk to. All right? Pitch everyone, never prejudge people. When I first came up in sales and marketing, it was very easy, and I still see it today. You look at someone, you're like, that person's not going to pass credit. That person's not going to be able to pass their credit check, so I'm not going to pitch them. I'm not doing that, but I still see other people doing that. I learned my lesson probably 11, 12 years ago on this one. when I signed somebody up and he was just like covered in like literally had, I was in the South pitching and this guy literally had a white t-shirt on and it was covered in like chicken grease. And he was just not like the, like, oh, this guy's, going to be the one, right? He's the one that's signing up today. Well, anyways, I pitch him, and then he spends 10,000 cash at the location I'm at too, on top of me signing him up because the guy's like loaded, right? He just didn't care how he looked because he didn't want a bunch of people trying to, bother him. So, pitch everyone. Never prejudge people. People will surprise you. The guy who's dirty, the girl who's like maybe a little disheveled, she owns 5 properties, all right? So, or she owns a big business, right? She's been working 12-hour shifts covering that business, and she's just coming in, and you see her at the end of one of these 12-hour shifts that she's been working 7 days a week on, right? She's the one. She's still interested, but you're like, I'm not pitching them. They can't pass credit or whatever, however prejudging, or they're not interested in my product or service. However you prejudge people, stop doing it. You got it. You don't have a crystal ball. You don't know the future. Talk to everybody, all right? The harder you work, the luckier you're going to get, all right? That's just how it works. So, number 6, maintain attitude. Positive attitude will allow you to take control of a situation. So that's important for being in the present moment. But anyone can be positive after a bunch of sales or commissions come through, right? Anybody can be walking on sunshine and walking high on life when things are going their way. Who's maintaining their attitude? Who's staying positive? Who's working through it when things aren't going your way, right? And I'm not perfect. I've still lost my attitude before, all right? This is something you have to constantly work on. A lot of these things are like constantly things you can upgrade and get better at, and just becoming aware of where you're falling short and how your mind works and how you've been trained to stay poor and start looking at things differently. All right, so maintaining your attitude when things are not going great, when things aren't going your way, that's the great separator between leaders and successful people. In my mind, this is one of the giant things that really just, you see the other people just kind of get washed out because they start losing their attitude when things don't go their way. All right. Number 7, know your goals. I hate to admit it, but before I found sales and marketing, when I joined sales and marketing, when I was 26, 27 years old, I did not really have a lot of goals. I had a lot of dreams, but I never wrote my goals down. I never had any like vision. I never had like any concentrated laser beam focus type, I'm going to make this happen type vision. It was more just like, oh, that'd be nice, this would be nice, blah, blah, blah. Have a thing to concentrate on and have a why of what you're doing this for. Just have a dedicated why. No matter what, why. That I am doing this for. When you have a big enough why, the how starts mattering less and less. All right? So have a gigantic why. Have a gigantic why am I here? What am I doing this for? And know your goals. Have a goal. Like, for me, it was weird. Like, my boss was asking me what my goals were. I'm 26, 27 years old. I'm like, I think I heard that once. My guidance counselor asked me that before I graduated high school, I think once. Somebody asked me that because they were trying to sell me like some kind of plan to get in debt to go to college and get, $100,000 in debt to have a piece of paper that didn't do nothing for me. But that was probably the last time I heard somebody ask me, what's your goals, Devon? So what are your goals? Share them below. I want to see what your make sure to comment and share some of your goals. What's your why, right? Having a gigantic why is going to obliterate any kind of like how you need to do it, all right? Because once you have that crystal clear vision of what you're doing all this for, you know, the working hard or working long hours or whatever you need to do, or making sacrifices or this or that, or like these things that maybe aren't like ideal in the moment, right? The putting, what's the word I'm looking for? Delayed gratification, doing some of the delayed gratification techniques, which, you know, nobody wants to actually delay gratification, but if you bring the pain on early, quicker, and then delay the gratification for later, you're going to have bigger rewards and bigger and better things. So the more pain you can take on now, the more gratification you can put off till later, you're going to enjoy and reap larger and magnified and multiplied rewards for acting in such a way. So that's why you need a gigantic why for doing those kind of things. Because if you don't have a why, then why would you do those things? You wouldn't, right? And then the last one is number 8, take control. So take control of your life, take control of your career, take control of your future. Take control of everything that's happening to you. What that meant for me was taking my power back, was the stop blaming. Stop, you know, a lot of these things go back to blaming yourself and doing, it sounds weird to say that, but like when you blame yourself for everything, no matter what, there's a book called Extreme Ownership. It's great, it talks about a lot of this. But besides that is like, everything that you don't take ownership of owns you. All right? If that means this thing over here is outside of my control and it affects me because I can't take control of it. So it's going to own me. It's going to dictate, and I'm just a puppet to, and I'm just going to just be a leaf in the wind, because everything outside of my control, the externals affect me. Externals are irrelevant. It's all internal. It's all mindset. It's all attitude. It's all perception. That's what this is all about, is changing your perception, and that's how you get to success. That's really all success, how you can become successful. I thought it was all these other things. Again, a lot of things earlier in my life, it was, oh, they were born into it. Oh, they got lucky. Oh, I'll get lucky one day. I'll invent something one day. That the myth that they sell you, that you're gonna create the next big website. Don't worry, you're gonna win the lottery. Don't worry, you're gonna be the next big superstar and do this, right? That is not happening. Okay, that's a lie they sell you to keep you weak and low. All right, you're just waiting around until your big break happens, and it never comes. You're waiting for like the Tony Robbins to come out of the sky and tell you that everything's going to be okay and you're going to do it, and you should come work with me or something, whatever it is. Or you're waiting for that baseball contract to finally go through, or you're gonna I don't know. There's all types of ideas of what you're gonna invent the next Facebook, or you're gonna invent the next spatula or something. You're gonna reinvent the wheel or something. You're gonna build the better mousetrap and then take over billion-dollar mousetrap industry. It's nonsense. I mean, yeah, okay, there are people that are out there doing great things and inventing great things, and you're one of them. Great, awesome. I'm not saying don't pursue that, keep doing that. But for the rest of us, all right, there is an actual way to success without having to wait around to win that lottery ticket, wait around and keep buying the Powerball and keep paying the stupid tax and trying to go the easy way, trying to win it on whatever. So it's the perception, it's the mindset, it's the attitude, all right? So these are things that I've personally done that I had to kind of break old mindset habits, the old, rich dad, kind of poor dad mentality, rich dad mentality, switch over. But it's a poor mentality versus rich mentality. It's really what it is. It really comes down to, how do you perceive things? Are you blaming everything else? Or are you taking ownership and taking responsibility and then taking control of your life and your outcomes, right? One of the most impactful things I've ever heard was, every single person is exactly where they deserve to be, all right? That means if they're super successful, they deserve to be there. And if they're not, they deserve that too, all right? So appreciate you coming down. Hope you took some of these lessons to heart. Hope you can see some of the ways you can start changing your mind, changing how you look at things. All right, now let's go make some money.